Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hexagon challenge here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well. So today, if you're looking forward to the end of the season here at Monaco in the 2028-29 season, then please do go down below, leave a thumbs up on today's video, and also if you're new around here and enjoy the content, then also hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. So since you were last here, we have had quite a few games off camera over the weekend here in New Zealand. We were last here, we took on Lyon, just snuck a 1-0 win against them, albeit stat-wise it felt deserved, even though it came for a tap-sober penalty late on. And as you can see, our form since then has been very good. We'll start with the Lille game. This was an absolute cracker, a 4-3 result here away from home. Took us a while to get to the races here, and it was Lille who started the first half off well. Early goal to Augusto, albeit after 20-something minutes for a header. That made it 1-0, and then right before halftime slotted in nicely. And we were 2-0 down at halftime. We made some changes at the break. We brought Quintero on for Fernandez and put Flavio Henrique out to a wing, and you can see it paid dividends fairly early on. A ball from Henrique, Quintero getting a goal back for us in the 50th minute to make it 2-1. And then a quarter of an hour later, it was Quintero who, after a bit of a pinball wizard, got another header off another Henrique cross, and we levelled the scores with 25 minutes to go, 10 minutes further on, and we were able to take the lead. Ousmane Dembele, off a rebound off the post, was able to put one in the back of the net. A bit of luck there, but we got the lead. And a very similar goal coming up here for Dembele yet again off the post, but the rebound falls to him, and we were 4-2 up with 10 to go. Lille did come back at us though, and it felt like we might be in for a tight finish as Augusto slotting in Bricalo, but that is how things stayed. 4-3, cracker of a game, and in the end that second half proving very important for us. A couple of substitutions really giving us a bit of go forward there. You can look at this, well, you can see the stats, and don't know how that game was as close as it was. Lille scoring all of their shots on target, but a bit frustrating, it was fair to say, but we got the job done, and that was nice to see. Off the back of that, we took on Lens at home, a good 3-0 win here. Another game where it took us a while to get going, but once we did, things started to go in the right direction for us. Flavio Henrique somehow getting past Noblega there and slotting one in the bottom left-hand corner, and he quickly made it a double only 1 minute later. Amin Gary kind of making his way in the box. Agume, they put a ball in it, deflected off Guyan, and luckily Henrique was in a nice position to put that away for us to make it 2-0. And then taps over with a header. The goalkeeper, Jurado, could not get enough of a hand on it, and we picked up a nice 3-0 win, which, if you look at the stats, we thoroughly deserved. Then off the back of that, Strasbourg away, good 4-0 win here. Flavio Henrique was able to intercept the ball here in the 16th minute, get past the defenders and slot one away nicely inside that right-hand side of goal, and we were 1-0 up at half-time. And then in the second half, we brought Quintero on. He was playing out on the right wing, but boy, did he make a difference. Bit of luck there. Deflected shot, but he still had to do well to get that past the goalkeeper past the near post. That made it 2-0. And he got another soon after that. Hudson-Odoi, Henrique had a shot. It was blocked. Sent the deflection to Quintero, and he got his double. And then in the 90th minute, just as the referee was getting into extra time, he completed his hat-trick. Lovely ball there from Mulder and bet the goalkeeper, and we got our 4-0 win. Once again, stat-wise, a win that we thoroughly deserved, albeit Strasbourg did have a few chances, but some nice impact again from Edwin Quintero. Then we took on Sochaux Montpellier. This was probably the toughest game of what we had left past the Lille game. These guys currently sitting in 5th, so this was a good 2-0 win at home. Very average first half here, but we did get going in the second half. It was Ousmane Dembele off a Mulder cross, good header to put us 1-0 ahead early in the second half, and then late on we got a penalty, taps over, obliged, puts it away. That made it 2-0, and I'm pretty sure that was the game in which we qualified second overall in Ligue. It did not matter what was happening after this stage, but just to make sure, we didn't beat Troyes 3-0 away from home, and that was thanks to a first half hat-trick from Flavio Henrique Fernandez, putting a good ball forward after we got the intercept, and we were 1-0 up at the 15-minute mark. Then in the 24th minute, off a throw-in interception, Almas just hoofs one long, and Henrique on the volley off a sort of, what do you call it, kind of like a throw-down bounce, I suppose, if you're a cricketer, was able to get that past the goalkeeper, make it 2-0, and then as we were getting into extra time in the first half. He puts one away to complete his hat-trick. Pretty quiet second half, but a game that we did thoroughly dominate yet again, and a well-deserved 3-0 win. So we come into today's game, albeit it has no meaning, in a very nice run of form. And if we look at the Ligue table, you can see we are locked into second. We're not going to win the title. PSG have done too much, but we are very safe in second. 7 points clear of Marseille and 9 points behind PSG. And they are also guaranteed the Champions League place. It's all pretty much locked in everywhere, you would have to say. Amiens, Strasbourg, and Nimes are probably the teams that are going to be going down. Troyes could get dragged into that, but the goal difference is very good. So not a lot to play for. I suppose Amiens probably more to play for than us in this game because they'll want to get a win to try and get into the playoff position. I believe we took these guys on last year on the last day of the season as well and beat them, but they made that playoff game and stayed up. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But we'll get into this game and then we've got the end of season review. Sorry if that recap was a bit quick, but it's going to be a busy episode today, so I think we need to get it out of the way quickly. I'm also going to be doing this game today on key highlights instead of extended highlights just because there's not a lot writing on it. Has to be said. The other thing worth noting going into this game is we give you a quick look at our team is that Flavio Henrique is on holiday. He got tired after that last game and I thought we may as well give Quintero a shot. There's no real need to be stopping players going on holiday when we've already got second place locked up. So while a little bit frustrating, Quintero should do a good job for us here up top. But otherwise, we are at full strength. Paul Tessier has been back for the last couple of games, of course, after getting injured a few episodes ago. And otherwise, we're at full strength. So we'll get into this game. Jorge Henrique on the bench instead of Quintero, thanks to that change with Henrique going on holiday. But otherwise, as I said, pretty good lineup we've got going into this last game of the season. And hopefully, even though we've already qualified in second, we can finish on a high. We will come back for team sheets at the start of the week 2 as we take on Amiens in the last game of the season. So here are the team sheets. You saw ours before. Pretty good strength apart from that Henrique holiday. In terms of Amiens, they've got a few okay players. Blanchard's one who's been getting quite a few goals, but otherwise they're a team that we should absolutely be beating. So hopefully we can finish this season in nice form. We'll tell the boys to carry on where they finished the last game. Tell them we'll go a bit of faith in them, and hopefully we can get a good result here. And here is our formation, the 4-3-3, and there you can see the player faces with that formation. And we'll see what Amiens are looking like coming into this game. Their form, look, it's actually pretty good for a team in 19th. Not a lot of losses there, so maybe they are on the rise. This could be a tougher game than it looks, and there's that points table. The main focus in terms of this is actually probably on the Amiens and compared to us because they need points, as we said, to try and get into that playoff spot and maybe even a slight chance of making their way out of that, but looks like playoff is the best that Amiens is going to be hoping for, but nothing has happened early as we get into the 10-minute mark. Okay, first highlight of the game. It's taken to the 40th minute. You can see why I usually play on extended highlights. But yeah, we're in the 41st minute and we did it with a throw-in. We're now in the final third. Dembele, Almas, Agume with a shot, gets in the back of the net, and there is the opener, and we go 1-0 up after 41 minutes, the first highlight that we've seen. And we also notice Gabriel Fernandes is just carrying a little bit of a niggle, but last game of the season, not the end of the world. Hopefully it's just a minor thing. Dembele getting on the ball, back to Almas. He finds Agume and a wonderful strike. Figueroa might have even got a touch on that, but not enough to keep it out the top right corner. And we go 1-0 up just before halftime. And that is halftime. Tell you what, the key highlights are quick and fast, aren't they? I'm not sure if I like it, to be fair, but it was worth a crack for the last game of the season. 1-0, the only highlight that we saw, we put in the back of the net. And on the whole, we're looking pretty dominant stat-wise. We'll go into the sheds, tell the boys they're doing okay, but they can do better. And we will make a change. Gabriel Fernandes, just a little bit of an injury, potential thigh injury. There's no point risking him. We'll bring Amin Ghali on for him. And everything else is looking pretty good, it's fair to say. Although it was Mana Dembele not having a great game, neither Edwin Quintero. So we might make those subs at some stage in the second half. Give Henrique and Hudson-Odoi a chance to round out the season off well. But we'll get into the second half. Hopefully there's a few more highlights. 1-0 up. Okay, we've got to the 60-minute mark. Still only that one highlight in the game. I think key highlights might not be lasting very long on the channel. I think it's fair to say. But we'll make those subs that we hinted at halftime. Dembele off for Hudson-Odoi. We'll give also Jorge Henrique, the player we got in on a free transfer in the most recent transfer window. We'll give him a crack up front and see what he is made of. And hopefully something happens in the remaining half hour. And now we do have a highlight off that sub, so this might be interesting. Mulder down the left. A Gume in for Amiens. He'll have a crack. The shot blocked though. Cleared away for a throw-in, so not much of a highlight. And it remains 1-0 at the 60-minute mark. Free kick. We get it to the back post. Nianzou heads it off the bar though. That was a good chance. Tough angle for him though. But we are still 1-0 up. But that was a good chance for us. And we have another highlight coming here. So maybe those changes have sparked a bit of life into this game, because in terms of highlight-wise, it's been very dull up until now as we get the ball in a nice position on the field. Mulder, back to a Gume, over to Almas, just outside the box, knocking it around nicely. Now, Jorge Enrique on the end of that, but he looked well offside. You can see Hudson-Odoi, I think, was going to run onto that, but unfortunately, Jorge Enrique just decided to pick up the scraps, and I think he was well offside. And indeed, they do call it back for offside. I'm expecting this to be a good margin as well. Good build up for us there, but unfortunately, yeah, he's so far offside, it's not funny. And it remains 1-0 with 25 to go. 84th minute, and we've got another highlight. Tessier with the throw in, and we keep position for now. The ball does find a Gume. That looked semi under a bit of interception chance there for Amiens, but we do keep position now. Ampadu outside the box. Almas, Tessier. In a nice position we are here. Mulder in space on the left-hand side. Puts a ball back for Ampadu. Almas just holding on to things nicely. Hudson-Odoi for Enrique. That's a good save there from Figueira. And it will remain 1-0. Good chance, but yeah, very good save from the Amiens goalkeeper. And we will have the corner. Agume puts it in. And unfortunately, Nianzou cannot get his head to that. He will keep the ball though, so something might be going on here still. Tap sober, no, highlight ends. And it's still 1-0 as we get closer to full time. And that is full time. Not much of a game, I'm afraid. As I said at halftime, yeah, maybe extended highlights are a bit more entertaining than key highlights, but we have got through that game quickly. And to be fair, it wasn't one of overly great importance to how the season was going to finish. A good performance from us. You look at the stats, and we have absolutely dominated these guys to only get a 1-0 win. A little bit frustrating, I suppose, but we'll take the win. We'll take second place. Well clear of third place Marseille, but still a fair way behind PSG. And Amiens are going to be relegated this time. Without the playoff game, it will be Nimes, who despite getting up level with Troyes on the final day of the season, will be in the playoff game thanks to goal difference, but they might be staying up as they're taking on the Ligue 1 team, and you'd imagine the Ligue 1 team should be better than them, but that is how things fall in Ligue 1 for the season. Us and PSG going straight into the Champions League group stage, but Marseille will have to qualify through a few games before we get into the group stage, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get in there. You'd think they would, because they were pretty good this season, albeit last season Lens were the team that finished third and they didn't get there in the end, so there's always a chance. So hopefully we might be seeing 3 French teams in the Champions League next season, as long as Marseille do the job in those qualifiers. And Lyon, Sochaux-Montbéliard will be going to the Europa League, I believe, and Cayenne into the Conference League. I believe that is with PSG having won the Coupe de France this year over Marseille, so that doesn't really have an impact on much at all in terms of qualification places for Europe. But that's the end of our season, and we'll come back soon and do the end of season review and all that sort of stuff. And also, I suppose, start having a look at job openings and if we're going to be staying here, what transfers we're going to be making, and we'll also have a look at what's happened in the other leagues as well, and the Champions League, Europa Leagues, all that stuff. I'm hoping a team in the Champions League final doesn't win it, because that would frustrate the heck out of me, but we'll be back soon, more shortly in your guys' case, to do all that end of season review stuff. Okay, we are back for the season review, and hopefully my voice isn't too high because I've just been on the cycle for 45 minutes, so if it sounds different, that's probably the reason. But we'll get into this end of season review and start with the new arrivals. A lot of these players who have come in are players who haven't spent a lot of time here. Golubiewski played a few games, actually did really well for us in the Trophée des Champions at the start of the season. Algif Almas, probably the main one that we've actually brought in this season, came into our midfield to replace Ricky Puig, got him for 90 million from Manchester United, and he played fairly well for us, 6.94, not terrible by any means, so he did pretty well from us. We go down a lot of players who we sent out on loan. Alisson, fairly up and down after we spent, it says 20, it was actually 10 because he won't be getting the other 10 million because there's no way he's going to get up to his 50 league appearances by the time he retires, I'd say, especially with Goron back in the team. But we brought him in, as I said, for that to cover for Goron when he was injured. But it'd be fair to say it didn't really pay off, especially in that first league against Chelsea. Keep going down. We start to get to a few more players who have brought in, who have played. Lorente, with a lot of bench appearances, was fairly solid for us, especially for a free signing. Didn't perform overly well, but got a couple of assists, good passer of the ball. And apart from that, some youngsters. So not a heap of signs that came into the first team, and maybe that's something we'll look at next season, although we will get to that soon because transfer budget not as good as you would think. And also you look at the stats and there's no doubt a player up the top who you're wondering why he's not in the first team. He probably will be next season. We'll get to that as well. Transfers out. Quarta left us mid-season, as did Aquaviva. The money for the latter just too good to turn down, it felt like. And outside of that, a lot of players who were fringe players and weren't really getting a lot of time. We keep going down. Almeida, he left in the mid-season transfer window and has played quite a bit for Lille since. He was very much a fringe player. So we all, on the whole, sold mostly fringe players. The main player that left us, Aquaviva, this year for 90 million, but that was just too good a profit to turn down. So not a very busy year transfer-wise for us, but the ones who did come in, I feel, did a pretty good job for us, which is good to see. So now we get to our competitions. Trophée des Champions, 1-1. We won that on penalties, so that was good. A late goal to Hudson-Odoi, and then some penalty heroics from Golubuski from memory, so that was good. Coup de France, the big letdown for us this season. Having won it the past 3 years and the past 2 years since we joined the club as a manager, we got knocked out in our first game against now relegated Nîmes. So, yeah, very disappointing that, but to be fair, we've won the competition twice, so not massively disappointed about it, even though the board won't be. Champions League, missed out to Chelsea. I'll come back when the season finishes proper to see who actually won the Champions League, but Manchester United subsequently knocked Chelsea out, I'll tell you guys now. So to lose to them after doing quite well against Manchester United in group stage was pretty frustrating, but that first league just too difficult. And there's a red dot next to the second league. We actually won that league, so I'm not too sure why it's come up like that. But on the whole, they did us. That first league really cost us, especially the first half of it. Although we did meet board expectations and in League are comfortably finishing second, which is good to see because we're in the Champions League group stage again next season, matching more or less what we did last season. We lost to Marseille early. That's when they were absolutely flying. And then we had that bad run in February around that Chelsea game, leading into it actually, into that first league, losing to Montpellier and then Paris Saint-Germain. But otherwise, the odd loss here or there against Rennes and Marseille. But otherwise, it was a really good season for us. Just when you're taking on PSG, you really can't afford to drop as many points as we have. So we're going to need to sort that out. Moments to remember. Biggest win 5-0 against Metz. That was in the first half of the season back in August. Good hat-trick there from Edwin Quintero. So he played a fairly rotated team there, which is interesting to see. The match to remember. The first round game against Amiens, apparently 3-0. Not sure why, but apparently it is. And the goal of the season, Flavio Henrique against Strasbourg. That was not that long ago. In fact, that would have been one of the games we just showed you guys the highlights from. So go back earlier in the episode and watch that. Honestly, wasn't a goal that I remember a great deal. So interesting choice of goal of the season, especially considering there were some very tasty chip goals this season. But that's what they have given goal of the season for. Now, finances, we're going to get more into this because it's not actually in a great state at the club. Everything gone down except for competition prize money. Obviously, it's gone up thanks to Champions League. It's good to see. Most of these other things have gone down very slightly, and the competition prize money makes up for most of it. Sponsorship not as good, which is a little bit interesting considering that now we're back in the Champions League, but interesting. And the financial situation is also interesting. We're going to get into that shortly because it is a reason that we might start looking a little bit more at other jobs, albeit if to be a good job for us to leave, I will say that. There's our best 11. It's pretty much the team that we rolled out for most of the season. Best performer, without a shadow of a doubt this year, was Flavio Henrique. But once again, Ousmane Dembele, his star ratings on the decline, but his performances on the field have been sensational. So he's still going to be in the first team picture next year, even if we do look to move him out of the first rotation. And there is a player who we've already got at the club who I might look to bring in, but otherwise we're looking pretty good across the board. Another player who's on the decline is Mert Mould in terms of star rating, so that might be a position we look to strengthen again in the off-season transfer window, especially if clubs come in for someone like Alvaro Fernandez, which, according to the wanted sign next to him, is a possibility. But It's the team that we rolled out as our first string team for most of the season, so feels like we judged that pretty well, and only a few players not in the green, but most of them very close to being so. So pretty good performances for the most part from the boys this season, but Flavio Henrique, without a shadow of a doubt, for mine player of the season. And he gets it this time. I thought he would have got it last season, but didn't. And this time he does. He also gets young player of the season. Alisson signing of the season? Not so sure. I personally would have given it to Almas, but hey, I suppose he went okay in the games he played for us. Top goal scorer Henrique, most assists Dembele, player of the matches Henrique with 11, highest average rating Henrique, and the most passes completed was Almas this year per 90 minutes. So yeah, maybe he deserved signing of the season more so than Alisson. He just hurt us in some of those games this season. Alisson, especially the first league of that Chelsea Champions League knockout. We've got some record breakers. Most goals from a player in the match, Mikado with 4. He came off the bench and went ballistic one game. He is out injured for a while, so interesting player. He's very much a fringe player, but he's injured, so we're probably not going to be able to move him on this season. Most assists by a player in a season, Dembele with 17, and the most player of the match awards in the season, Henrique picked that up as well. Competition award-wise, the World Golden Glove actually went to Goron, which is very interesting. Trophy de Champions, best player, Hudson-Odoi, one-off game. Henrique retained the Brazilian Olympic Footballer of the Year. The Ligue 1 best player went to Dembele, most assists Dembele. Euro Cup Golden Boot went to Edwin Quintero. Interesting, because I don't remember us being in the Euro Cup, but hey. And the best under-21 player in the world went to Edwin Quintero as well, so our striking options are certainly good, and dear God, we are 40 years old in game. That's scary, but yeah. Unfortunately, still no managerial awards. Probably the Marseille manager this year, I'd say, or the PSG one. We're just in that kind of in-between League R zone at the moment where we're just kind of achieving what we're expected to. I think we're going to need to win the title until we maybe win a domestic award, or PSG are going to have to have a shocker, I think, because at the moment we're doing well without doing anything overly great. But that is the review. In terms of the best overall 11, with a quick look at this now, Agume's made his way into the team, but only on the bench. And apart from that, I think Flavio Henrique's now up top. I remember Kevin Vollen being in this team, so I think now that he's got 100 goals, his last one that we saw in those games I played off camera was his 100th, so good reward for him to get in the best 11. 182 appearances, 100 goals, the best overall rating on average for a player in the squad, so he thoroughly deserves his place in there. I think Dembele might have also sneaked into the first team. I think someone else might have been there ahead of him, and otherwise we've got a few more players sneaking there. I think Tapsoba might have also got in there, and maybe Ampadu. I'm trying to remember players who went in there last season. I think Goron's also a newcomer to the team, so I think more of our players are making their way into the overall best 11 here at Monaco, but not something I'm overly concerned about, to be frank, because we're going to be shifting clubs quite a bit in this Hexagon, but good to see a few of our boys are in that team now. You can see we have 9 players, I believe. It counts again just to make sure it's 8 who are still at the club in that first team, which is good to see. And we get to pick our training camp. They want us to go to Switzerland. We went to USA last year. I think we will stick with Switzerland this time. We'll go there for 10 days and see if we can get some games against the Switzerland teams. We could go China, but yeah, I think we'll go Switzerland. I think we'll just leave things as they are. We did America last year and probably get better football quality in Switzerland than China. Although in saying that, they do have the Super League over there. And we'll just have a quick look at the overall team, I suppose. So you saw that most of these guys are playing quite well. Fernandez injured, but not for too long, as you would have seen from that last game. You look at this overall squad, it's pretty good. There's a few players now who are just sort of getting on the decline, the likes of Puig, Hudson-Odoi, and Gaudi. Looking at maybe putting Dembele on the bench next season. That might be the only thing that we do, but he's been so good for us this season that it's going to be a very interesting thing there. And the other star rating you'll notice, I'm very happy with both our centre-back performances. Mert Mulder played pretty well, but maybe we need to look at bringing in another left-back who might have a bit more quality, especially if someone like Fernandez ended up leaving for Leeds or West Ham. We might bring someone else in. So that might be the main transfer that we look to bring in, because we don't have a lot of money. If we go to the scouting centre, we've only got $73 million this season, which seems like not a lot at all. And we'll look at the financial picture of the club as a whole in a minute to maybe suggest why that's the case. Because if you remember, last year we had about 190 million. So I don't know why that's gone down by such a substantial amount. you will see with the incoming transfers, the transfer budget stays the same. We've already spent our money and we've got the likes of Taliso, Kane, and Kudus coming in, and they're going to take up a fair bit of wage. So we've still got 73 million left to spend. We can play around with the wage budget. It's probably only going to be enough for one decent player, though, so that's the slight frustration. And we will have a quick look at the finances. You can see over the season from June last year, and this is probably due to the wage budget, it went down quite substantially, and then we got another sponsorship deal and it went back up. So the overall club financial picture is okay, but it's not great, put it that way. And saying that, it does do that over time, but you can see the predicted budget for next season is 44.7 million, and they're only going to let us retain 25% of the transfer revenue at the moment. So it's not a great financial position we're actually in here at Monaco, which is a bit concerning. So if a good job comes up, I'm probably going to be more inclined to look at it now than I would have been last year. Even though the financial status is rich, it doesn't feel like we're in that good a position. So that's something to keep an eye on. I might also sort out some contracts so we get rid of some clauses in terms of players getting a percentage of sell-on fees over the next while in case they do leave, just so that we're getting more of that money thinking about that. So we might play with some contracts, so we'll see. But it's not going to be a busy transfer window, I don't think, albeit that's something that you often hear in Football Manager, and offers come in and everything changes. So we'll see what we do there. Now, in terms of players who will probably be coming into the first team next season, this man is the main one. So this is Gabriel Rodriguez. He's a player who was top of those incomings earlier. You would have seen his overall rating and fought all year. This is a guy we bought in mid-season for about 14.5 million. Right winger. You look at his stats, look at his overall star rating, and he looks very, very good. Few areas could do with some work, namely crossing and passing. He's not overly technical, but he looks a very good option at 20 years old. He is going to fill an EU spot, but I think he's worth it. You look at his pros. There's a lot of pros. He's such a good-looking player, and he could be the natural progression that we perhaps need from someone like Ousmane Dembele. Maybe he's a player who's going to be playing a bit more in Europe next season than Dembele, because Dembele, he is in sensational form, but when you got someone of this quality weighing in the wings, I feel like we're going to need to bring him into the first team next season. He's valued at 30 million, so we did a great deal there to get him for 14.5 in the mid-season window. And it feels like he's earned his way. You look at his stats overall this season: 42 games, 20 goals, 10 assists, 10 player of the matches. Look at his overall career. This guy is a really good player, and I feel like we should give him a chance, and he'll be fighting it out for Dembele for that first team spot next season, probably. But in terms of players at the club, he's the only one who's really going to probably come in here and really fight for things. The other guy who's out on loan who I'm looking at, maybe, Pascal Angelini. He was a player I was tempted to use this season. He's improving yet again, so he's probably going to be a squad player next season. He's done a decent job at Sevilla this season out on loan. 35 games, 9 goals, 5 assists, free player of the matches. So he also will probably feel like he's earned his chance here, and probably does. And you've got the likes of Hudson-Odoi and Gowley who are coming towards the end of things. With all due respect to them, probably a good time to bring these young guys through and maybe inject some fresher legs into the side, and maybe that might make the difference in challenging the likes of PSG. Maybe we just need some fresh legs in there to maybe keep the boys a bit more honest, for lack of a better term. But those are the two main players who will be coming back into the first team next season. There's a few players as well who are down here who could get involved, but not as much. Some of these guys are the likes of Seo Jae-min from South Korea. You've got Stanislas Robert, who we got from Lyon. He is French. They've been performing really well on loan, but might still need another season before they're considered in the first team. Adrian Schetter at 17 years old, he could be an option, but yeah, we've got a few options to come in, but those top two in particular in the second team who are currently out on loan are the ones who are probably going to be coming in, and that might mean we're able to move on the likes of Garley or Hudson-Odoi just to maybe earn a bit more funds and help that financial situation. The other option I was looking at was a left back, just in case we lose Fernandes or Mulder. We do have Romain Ledger who can cover that position, but I feel he's a much better centre back. You look at the players interested in coming here. I'm trying to find the guy I'm after here. And this is the guy that I'm looking at quite seriously. Jesus Mosquera. He is Panamanian. He is non-EU. So again, maybe we're going to need to get rid of some non-EU players just to balance things out there. But In terms of a left back, this guy, his crossing could use work, but at 22, that's something he can improve. And otherwise, if we get him on wing back support, everywhere else his stats are really good, and he could be a really good option. Look at the scout rating, lots of pros, not many cons. We pretty much use up our entire transfer budget, but might be worth it. You look at the scout summary, he apparently is extremely interested. Lots of pros. The only con is that non-EU, consistent performer, a little bit better than what we've got. So maybe he's a player that we might look to bring in. He's the main one that stands out. The other one who we could look at bringing in if we go back to the shortlist, because for some reason he doesn't show up on there. Musa Wagu, similar kind of player, but some of the areas there, his dribbling in particular, just not quite as good as the Panamanian we just looked at. So yeah, maybe one of those two. Although it feels like if we got this guy in, it wouldn't be a great amount of improvement. He's got a lot more cons than our man before did. So yeah, probably only one big first team signing is what we can do this season. I'm leaning towards left back, but we'll see how we get on. Obviously, value for money is going to be quite important in this upcoming transfer window. So that does it for the end of season review, apart from the Champions League and the league winners. So we'll come back shortly and do that for you guys as well. Okay, and we are back for this somewhat end of season review in Europe. And as you can see on this day, Liverpool beat Manchester United in the Champions League final. A little bit happy with that because, yeah, it would have felt a bit dirty if Manchester United finished below us in the group and somehow ended up winning the whole competition. But they did get beaten 2-1 by Liverpool, who beat Bayern Munich in the semi, and Southampton were defeated by Manchester United on penalties in the semi-finals. And then we go back to the quarters, which was the round after we got knocked out. And you can see Manchester United getting past Chelsea and the other results that happened there. So that's the first one to tick off the list. Liverpool beating Manchester United in the Champions League final. We'll go to the Europa League. Have a quick look at this for you guys. Roma beating Milan after extra time, so they win that and will be in the Champions League next season. We'll have a quick look at the Conference League as well, just to see what's going on there. And Villarreal, after extra time, being Feyenoord. That is the result there. And now we'll get around the leagues. So we'll start in the Bundesliga, and Leipzig champions, which is interesting. Bayern, Bayer Leverkusen and Hertha in the Champions League. Then Dortmund, Schalke in the Europa League, and Hoffenheim getting into that Conference League. So that's an interesting result in the Bundesliga, it's fair to say, as we now go to Serie A. Juventus champions there. No surprises this time. Inter, Roma and Milan to round out the Champions League spots. And Napoli and Fiorentina in the Europa League and the Conference League for Lazio. So that's interesting. Maybe Pep's going to be under pressure because of that result, with a team that reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League next season. So that Lazio job came up again. Maybe we'd have a second look at that. And also, if we go back to the Bundesliga, I can't imagine Dortmund will be too happy with that result either, but we'll see what happens. La Liga, Barcelona champions, and by a long, long way. Then it's Atletico Madrid, Villarreal and Valencia in the Champions League. Real Madrid and Real Sociedad making the Europa League, and Athletic Club in the Conference League. Interesting stuff there as well. More in behind Barcelona than on top, seeing as they absolutely waltzed in that league. And we go to the Premier League, the team who knocked us out, Chelsea, champions by quite some distance. Manchester United second, City third, and Arsenal fourth. Liverpool and Southampton will be in the Europa League. I say that, Liverpool having won the Champions League will be going into it. So maybe them and Arsenal are going to switch around. But yeah, if Liverpool didn't win the Champions League, that might have been interesting as well. And Southampton reached the semi-finals, of course, and Manchester United only just got past them there. So they won't be too happy about the Europa League either. So there's potential for there to be some job openings, it's fair to say, around Europe. We'll have a quick look at that as well before we go today. Bit of a big one, but it's an end of season review and we've got some big stuff to get through. Obviously, not all the jobs that could become available are going to be available now. We'll come back if something big happens, such as Dortmund last season, because that was one off. Also, we got offered the Lazio interview last season, which, as I said, we turned down then, but maybe that wasn't the greatest idea in the world at the time. The Melbourne City's available, top-ranked team in the A-League. That's one which could be interesting in terms of the season preview anyway, but yeah, not sure if I'm going to go to Asia, probably China and those jobs, DL Pro and Zhangzhou not great ones. So I think we'll be leaving Asia alone for now. We keep going down. Unfortunately, I've got to leave all the leagues in here, otherwise some don't show up. That's why Colombia and some continents that we've already finished off are still here. So if you're wondering about that, that's why. I discussed that quite a few episodes ago now, but it's mainly an issue with MLS jobs not showing up. You can see some Premier League jobs here, but bottom of the barrel sort of stuff. That would be an interesting appointment. Zlatan at Fulham. Fulham is Zlatan, but we'll see what happens there. And otherwise, Santos Laguna and Liga MX, of course, we do still have North America to complete. Not a terrible team, but I'd like someone a bit close to the top, much like Club America, who, of course, Rodriguez we've got off. So they're a good little talent factory. That's an interesting, perhaps, option for us should that job come up. But at the moment, not one that we're really looking at. We keep going down. The Kaiser Chiefs in South Africa. Maybe, but they're not as good a team as they used to be in this. You're sort of looking at Supersport and Mamelodi these days. It feels like that's a decent reputation jump down from Europe as well. That's why I'm kind of on the Europe train at the moment. Real Betis, sort of a mid-table La Liga Santander team. And the Colorado Rapids, that one hasn't been available for long. And if we try and find them on here, they're a wee way down, I believe, in 10th. So not a terrible team, but probably want one of those ones closer to the top there as well. So at the moment, nothing that takes my fancy a great deal in the job openings, but we'll see what happens. I don't think we've quite got to sacking season yet, so we'll see what happens, especially once the end of the month ticks over. That's when a lot of stuff usually goes down, so we'll see what happens there. But on the whole, we'll be keeping an eye out on this because, as I said, financially, I don't actually think Monaco's in that good a state, which I don't quite know how it's happened, but yeah, if we go to our manager profile as well, just to show you guys briefly, our managing finances are still really high and we're still in that sort of 75% reputation. So we're not gaining a lot here at Monaco at the moment, but we're not doing badly either. If you look at our career stats, we're still on a 79% win percentage and we've got a fair few trophies since we've been at Monaco here too. So certainly not going badly, and we'll show you guys the attributes as well. Some very good stuff starting to come up there now. Quite a few greens, and yeah, be interesting to see. Hopefully, maybe a bigger job comes along. But in saying that, we did tip up Manchester United once in the group stage of the Champions League, drew with them in the away league, and they made the Champions League final. So maybe we're not as far off here at Monaco as I think we are. Maybe just a couple of younger players who may strengthen the squad up, and maybe that's all we need. But we'll see how we get on with this transfer window, albeit, as I said, probably a pretty quiet one in terms of incomings with the budget that we've got, and see what we can do if we are still at the club. But yeah, I will get onto that over the next few days. Hopefully there's not going to be a gap in between episodes, but I'll see what I can do if there is. Hopefully you guys understand. And I'll keep you updated on Twitter and the like with that sort of stuff. But that is it for today's episode, and that is it for this season here at Monaco. Whether we'll be back, as I said, we'll see what the job openings have in place for us for the 2029-2030 season. But if you did enjoy today's episode and the season here at Monaco, then please do go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you are new around here, enjoying the content and looking forward to next season, no matter where we do end up, then also remember, hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on. Thank you very much for watching, and until next season, keep on keeping on. Cheers.